This is your daily dose of all things royal. Welcome back, my gorgeous, good-looking friends. In a cozy Dublin pub in 2013, this unknown, Z-list actress from LA, Meghan Markle, was pouring a pint of Guinness during an expose entertainment interview when her carefully crafted persona briefly faltered. This now infamous clip, endlessly replayed, reveals a fleeting narcissist glitch, a chilling glimpse into the hollow enigma beneath Meghan's wannabe Instagram influencer brand, completely unscripted and exposed. Today, we're going to delve into that superficial 2013 expose interview, exposing a chilling detail that points to something far more sinister. Could this be further proof of Meghan Markle as a calculated deep state asset for this military-grade psychological operation that had been unleashed onto the unsuspecting and innocent public? Join me as we navigate this twisted new rabbit hole, connecting another piece of this unsettling royal saga. Be sure you stay till the end. You won't believe what we all missed in this cunning PR stunt. But before we begin, please help the kid out and hit that like button, settle in, and prepare for a story that I really hope is going to open more eyes. All right, everybody. Let's take ourselves back to November of 2013. Meghan finds herself in Dublin, Ireland. To set the stage, let's go ahead and revisit this passage from Tom Bower's book, Revenge, in Chapter 5, titled Manhunt. Meghan flew across the Atlantic in November 2013 to secure contracts for work and on a manhunt. To promote herself, she had hired Sunshine Sachs, a PR agency in Los Angeles famous for crisis management and known to represent Ben Affleck, Bon Jovi, Aerosmith, Leonardo DiCaprio, Justin Timberlake, Jennifer Lopez, Snoop Dogg, and Natalie Portman. The firm denied reports that they represented disgraced movie mogul Harvey Weinstein in 2015. Ken Sunshine, a 69-year-old former political consultant turned publicist, was a well-connected Democrat who had worked for a series of presidential and mayoral candidates, including George McGovern, Mario Cuomo, the young Bill de Blasio, and proudly for the Clintons. The agency promoted itself as a crisis management group, and its detractors would smirk that Sunshine was sunny by name but murky by deeds. "We don't play it safe. We're not genteel," Ken Sunshine had said. "We name names and battle the media when we have to." The agency was accused of doctoring their clients' wiki entries to remove negative material. So the important thing to get out of this is understanding that this is 2013. Meghan is now hooked up with Sunshine Sachs, who is literally best friends with Bill and Hillary Clinton. Keep in the back of your mind, if you had been around, all the things that were happening to people in this space talking about Meghan Markle that didn't align with what they were forcing down our throats were attacked, doxxed, harassed. Okay? Now, as things were heating up with the bad publicity surrounding the Sussex Squad and Elon Musk considering buying Twitter, we see this publicity stunt of Sunshine Sachs no longer representing Harry and Meghan. Did they confirm it? I don't believe so. But we saw later on Meghan still hanging out with Kayleigh Thomas Morgan, who is one of the partners. In any case, in 2023, we started to see these Sussex squids start disappearing. All of a sudden now, Sussex Squad podcasts and all the harassing bots suddenly started to just fade away. Now, I believe that this was a flat-out lie. I do think that Sunshine Sachs was still representing Meghan and Harry behind the scenes, but they were getting so much bad press at that time because in 2022, that's when the Queen passed away. And the Sussex Squad had been all over threatening the family, threatening Catherine and William. I mean, it was just relentless, nonstop. And I do think that the blowback from Harry and Meghan's PR team really took a toll on Sunshine Sachs's reputation. So they most likely put this out, even though it never said that they confirmed that they walked away from Harry and Meghan. I think this was about creating that distance, but they were still in the picture. Now, when Elon Musk had bought over Twitter, and in 2023, the Twitter files had been exposed, now all of a sudden you don't see Christopher Boozy having access anymore to his API, and all of a sudden these bots now have just sort of outright disappeared as a result of Elon Musk cleaning house. And I do believe, to a certain extent, the fact that the U.S. government started to investigate how so many people were being censored on social media, along with the Missouri versus Biden lawsuit, I believe that a lot of people started to jump ship. Now, not all sugars had jumped ship. There were still that were on the payroll, and what we started to see was this flippin' dynamic. So no longer were the Sussex squad embarrassing Meghan and getting global attention, but all for the wrong reasons. We now then had drama stirring up here in this space, which only tells you one thing, that those same people just changed their roles. And instead of attacking as a Sussex squatty, they're now attacking as a so-called Megxiteer. But I digress. The reason why I'm pointing that out is because it's important to understand how long this relationship went back with Meghan, to understand who they were aligned with, especially when we were experiencing all this shit during the window of time when creators were being attacked. It says here, among Sunshine's trusted partners was Kayleigh Thomas Morgan, a pleasant-looking middle-aged woman. Sunshine Sachs were paid about $7,500 per month to transform an unknown actress into a global celebrity. Let me say that again. Sunshine Sachs were paid about $7,500 per month to transform an unknown actress into a global celebrity. They built this construct to make the public think that Meghan was this global icon and she was so famous. Enter in Dublin.
Welcome to Ireland. You are over receiving an award, an honorary award from Trinity.
I am. I'm really excited. The Bram Stoker Entertainment Medal. So heading over there after this, but this was my first stop once we landed here in Dublin.
Again, this is 2013. Nobody knew who Meghan Markle was in the United States. Does anybody believe that people knew who she was in Europe? So this was the detail that sent me down this rabbit hole. We're supposed to believe that Meghan is getting awarded this Bram Stoker Entertainment Medal from Trinity College. So let's go back to the book Revenge. Tom Bauer writes, Meghan's first stop was Trinity College, Dublin. No, she stopped to do this interview. The student organizers of the college's Philosophical Society had sent out hundreds of invitations to celebrities to address their annual conference. Previous speakers included Angela Merkel, Joe Biden, and Nancy Pelosi. Among the very few replies that year was Meghan's. She accepted the invitation. Some students were skeptical that an audience would be attracted to hear from the unknown Rachel Zane. Fearing a disappointment, they decided in advance to award her the plastic Bram Stoker Medal rather than the prestigious honorary patronage. The pessimists proved to be wrong. Packed wall to wall, Meghan wowed the students wearing a jumper, distressed skinny ripped jeans, black stilettos, and holding a Louis Vuitton bag. Quite clearly, Suits had a cult audience. The students admired Meghan's undisguised self-identification with Rachel Zane. She's layered and humanized. Even though she seems so confident, she really has all those insecurities and vulnerabilities, and I relate to that as a woman, and I think fans will too. At the end, she headed to Dicey's, a popular haunt for students to promote E2 drinks. Now, here's the curious thing. I don't know where Tom Bauer got this story about how Meghan was chosen to get this award. You see, the reference that he has listed there doesn't talk about how Meghan was chosen to receive this Bram Stoker Entertainment Award. It is my opinion, but I don't think he got this right. I don't buy it for 1 second that this Philosophical Society couldn't get someone better than Meghan Markle to address their annual conference. And here is why. So once again, this is 2013. Nobody knew who Meghan Markle was. The Philosophical Society is one of the world's oldest student societies, boasting thousands of members, all drawn to its jam-packed event schedule of debates, guest speakers, and social events. Past guests, as you see a little bit further down, Martin Scorsese, Angela Merkel, Joe Biden, Al Pacino, Whoopi Goldberg, and Ruth Bader Ginsburg. So they really want us to believe that this society could not find anybody better than Meghan Markle, and that she is in the same category and class as people like Al Pacino and Martin Scorsese. Other notable people who were awarded honorary patronages, Desmond Tutu, as well as Ban Ki-moon. Here's the real kicker, though. This medal that Meghan was awarded, this Bram Stoker Entertainment Medal, doesn't exist. It's not a traditional medal that's given out to people. The medals that are awarded are these gold medals for patronages, these honorary patronages. Meghan received this entertainment award medal and is the only one. There has been no one since who's received this medal from this philosophical society. So what does this tell you? This tells you that this was all clearly set up for Meghan, so she could have this on her resume and for it to represent her being involved in this circle of people who are supposedly intellectual in debate. And I do believe that the reason why we don't have any information as to what she discussed or talked about is because it has been scrubbed. I kid you not, this might just be the first paid award by Sunshine Sachs. I guess the big question that I have is, couldn't Sunshine Sachs have found a closer to home college to buy an award for Meghan? My guess is no, because this is strategic and political. And here's why. So not only is this school primed for ideological grooming, it's very progressive and far left. I think it's worth noting, aside from John F. Kennedy visiting this college in 1963 because of his Irish heritage, Bill Clinton in 1995 and other visits, as well as Barack and Michelle Obama, and also Joe Biden. I think it's worth pointing out that 5 months before Meghan showed up at this college, Michelle Obama and her daughters go to have a purposeful visit at Trinity College. Okay, so let's recap what we've learned so far. So Meghan, a Z-list nobody actress, in 2013 flies all the way over to Dublin, Ireland, to receive an award that has never been given out before, nor has been given after to anyone else after Meghan, was made out of plastic, and never recognized as a notable figure that has spoken at this college. Meanwhile, any information about what Meghan talked about or the event itself, aside from what was published in the Daily Mail, can be found. All the while, Sunshine Sachs is running in the background. When you think about the manipulation that has been thrown our way from the beginning with this woman, it truly is impressive. You know, after looking at this, I am fully convinced that Meghan is an asset for some intelligence agency. Not an agent, because that would require her to be on the books, but an asset. And we know that in Hollywood, there are many assets running around. Literally, the CIA runs that town. So it would not be unthinkable that Meghan literally had been crafted. Remember what Tom Bauer had said? Sunshine Sachs was paid to take this nobody and turn them into a global celebrity. You know, there's quite a bit to do and see in Dublin. Now, while this is a popular tourist spot, there are other things that Dublin has to offer. Sunshine Sachs had begun to plant the royal seed about Meghan being a royal. Pouring pints is something that royals have been doing for generations. You see, members of the British royal family have stepped behind the bar not merely as a novelty, but as a deliberate gesture rooted in tradition, diplomacy, and public image. At its core, a royal pouring a pint is not about the beer. It's about shared identity. It signals that despite the privilege and pomp, the royals are still, in some symbolic way, part of the same national fabric. In pubs, long seen as democratic social spaces, they present themselves not as distant monarchs, but as approachable figures in touch with everyday life. It's less about the act itself and more about the image it projects, accessibility while maintaining a carefully curated persona. Yes, folks, they were showing everyone, before we even knew who she was, that she was going to be right for the role. And when Harry and Meghan got engaged on the very same day, this video gets published to the Expose YouTube channel. Coincidence? I think not. Yeah, I say this time and time again. Once you see it, you can't unsee it. And looking back, they really took us all for fools, and we fell for it, hook, line, and sinker, and still falling for it. Back when this article came out and was briefly talking about this Trinity College, I mean, they didn't talk about what she was talking about because that's nowhere to be found. But whoever this person is, student Ahern Flynn, commented at the time, "She looks so at home in that throne. How prophetic." Then go ahead and add the home video of this little girl running around being called Your Royal Highness, and then also the fake photo of her sitting outside of Buckingham Palace. And then on top of it, let's not forget the deep fake video of Meghan at her middle school graduation talking about things that were very much Diana-like. But we all know that they manipulated that footage. I've shown you that in past videos. Yeah, I've said this many times over. All of this has been one giant scam. And what's fascinating to watch is exactly what I've been telling would happen. The collapsing of this psyops and discussions and thawing out relationships and Harry somehow making it back home while Meghan will probably go off into her direction and hopefully will fade out. Again, more of my opinion, but Harry and Meghan did not fail. Look at what is happening in the UK and look at what is happening in the EU when it comes to your freedom of speech rights. The work that they have been doing consistently for the last 5 years that was under the radar while everyone focused on Meghan's bullshit got done. And trust me, it does look like it's going to get worse because then enter in Australia and Canada. Now, if you made it this far, I am so grateful and happy that I've caught your attention and beg you that if you haven't seen yesterday's video on the seriousness of what Harry and Meghan have been a part of, then I beg you to please watch it. I know that it's almost an hour, so go ahead and put it on like 1.25 speed so it can go faster. But there are messages in here that people need to hear. And by the looks of it, this DSA and UK online safety garbage has really throttled a lot of our channels now because of information that is being restricted. Just look at the amount of views that this video that I did yesterday is getting. In my opinion, I think this is one of the best videos that I have done so far on this channel. And I do believe that the information needs to get out there. Imagine, I'm trying to bring awareness to a serious situation of what is happening in the United Kingdom as well as the EU and how we see our freedoms being affected, and it's not being shared or recommended. I beg you, if you haven't seen this video, make it a point to watch it because this concerns your freedom. What is going to happen to you if you do nothing? I'm going to leave you with these final thoughts of mine. Please understand, this is not about left or right. This is about us versus them. We should be really angry that they got away with this. If we lose the right to speak, honestly, openly, and freely, we then lose the right to think. And when thinking becomes dangerous, living truthfully, especially if you are religious, becomes impossible. Don't let that happen. I never want to see my right to worship and live as Christ wants me to be taken away. That will be on me if I don't try to protect that and fight for it. It applies the same way for whatever faith you might be. You all deserve to be free. Anyhow, that's all I have. Definitely leave your thoughts below. As always, I will be back with more content, but until then, please be safe and I'll talk to you later. Bye.
Such a fraud.